Welcome to On the Hill.
I'm Brad Carlton.
And I'm John Cooper.
On our show today, we take a look at the majestic town that is Fayetteville, Arkansas.
What makes Fayetteville so unique? Well, our reporters have been working hard to answer that question for you.
An icon rises from the ashes, and Channing Barker has the story.
When Bruce died, a small little piece of Fayetteville went with him.
It's been over a year since the Fayetteville community lost a member of its family. Last March, Bruce Walker died after his store caught fire. The Dixon Street store still stands empty, but Bruce's family is making sure his legend lives on.
He looked up to me. Whether that was good or bad, anyway, he did.
Bruce's older brother, Bob Walker, has taken over the Fayetteville staple, but there were a lot of decisions to make. And as a dance teacher in Chico, California, taking over the shop wasn't necessarily an idea Bob gave thought to.
We just wanted someone to step up and take over so we could go back to our lives in California, and in my brother's case, Texas.
But once it was decided that Bob would stay in Fayetteville and carry on the name of Flying Possum, questions still remained as to what to do with the shop.
I entertained doing a bar down where Bruce used to be until I realized that that's the last thing I needed to do to myself, was go into the bar business on Dixon. So we let that go, and then we almost moved into a couple other places, and in fact, the day we were about to sign a lease, she found this place. She said, well, I think we need to go look at it. And it was a lawyer's office.
Some of Bruce's longtime pals and employees are staying true to the shop and to their lost friend. Marty Payton has worked with Bruce since he was 19.
He opened the store, I was 2 years old, so I don't ever remember not having Flying Possum leather in town.
Payton says that not just anyone could have opened the store.
If anybody else were to open it, you couldn't call it Flying Possum leather. Since Bob is opening it, it's for real.
And although Flying Possum was a Dixon Street staple, the move to the square will be a good one.
Bruce, I've said many times, would have not been happy about moving off of Dixon Street. But I believe at this point where we're at, I think he would be pretty excited.
Having it on Dixon Street and being right there in the middle, in the thick of everything, was really good. But having it on the square in much more of a retail area as opposed to an entertainment district, I think that'll be good for business.
This is such an incredible fit for Flying Possum.
Channing, with the loss of Bruce Walker on Dixon Street, there seems to be a bit of a void in the community. Besides reopening the Flying Possum, how are they planning on continuing his legacy here in the community?
Well, you know, Brad, last year after Bruce's death, George's Majestic Lounge had a huge celebration where they had all these bands, all of his friends and family came together. The whole community came together just to celebrate the man who was such a legend on Dixon Street. George's is trying to have this be an annual thing where all of the money raised will go to local charities, and that's just one way the community is, you know, coming together and remembering the legacy of Bruce Walker.
Thanks, Channing. Coming up next, Courtney Brown has a story on how Fayetteville is satisfying its sweet tooth.
Donuts, cookies, and cakes. Rick's Bakery has been serving Fayetteville since 1980 and has kept customers coming back for more. With so much popularity, it looks like Willy Wonka's got nothing on Rick's. For Rick Boone, it's been quite the journey. In February of 1980, what began as just a summer job turned into something much bigger than he ever imagined.
As a 400 square foot building, and it had been closed for a few years, and it was an old existing donut shop that had been closed. It was a kind of a summer job. I was working for a guy that had a lot of rental property. He actually owned this complex, and he said, hey, why don't we take that old donut shop and open it up? So we'll go in partners and we'll have somebody running it 6 months. And I said, sure, I've always wanted to go in business. And we did that. It helped me support through school, but I realized me and him couldn't work together. So I took his part over, and kind of history. 32 years later, I'm still here.
It's been 3 decades, and Rick's is still not your average bakery. Every day there is an assortment of freshly made desserts, donuts, and pastries. But what you'll also find is the deli inside, and a coffee bar that has just about every flavor. Rick's has won a number of awards throughout the years for titles such as Fayetteville's Favorite Bakery and Best Cookies. This once ordinary donut shop has become anything but ordinary, but has certainly lived up to everything Rick wanted it to be.
We went from a place that was just to help me support through school with no vision, just being a donut shop, because that's what it opened to, to probably 10 years into it to try to create something very eclectic, very neat, something for the local economy that I'd never seen before. And when I was growing up, I'd never been into a bakery or a donut shop in my life, so I'm not traditional. And so, as you can kind of tell looking around, we don't do anything traditional-wise. We're just kind of out there sometimes. And that's fun. I like to be different.
The second you walk in, you'll know that one thing Rick's Bakery does well are cakes. Hundreds of cakes, with designs I couldn't even do on paper. The talent is incredible and edible, and will leave you amazed at first glance.
You know, there is no school for decorating. And so what you look for is you look for somebody that has a passion, first for passion for bakery, that's what we look for first. Somebody that loves art, loves drawing. You know, we're doing that same thing, we're changing the medium on what they use. And we have a lot of graphic art majors, and they'll get started, and it's real different to them because they can't use brushes or they can't use charcoal or pencil. They have to create that work of art out of icing. It's different how it holds, how it flows, but they love it.
Callie is a cake decorator at Rick's and a graduate of Texas Culinary Academy, but she says everything she's learned about cake decorating has been right here at Rick's.
Like I said, I learned the basics at school, but I learned everything kind of from here and the way that Rick's does it and the style they want and the writing they want, you know, so, and the speed. It's really all about the experience. Yeah, and the experience, you know, and learning from other people and using that creativity, you know, to kind of go, because it's not, you know, the first day you do it, it's not going to turn out the way that you think it should.
Flowers, swirls, or tie-dye, anything you could imagine these decorators can do. You can even put a picture of your favorite celebrity. With so much to choose from, how could you possibly have a favorite? According to Rick, it really just depends on your mood.
I might be in a chocolate mood one day, and so I'll go for a chocolate petit-four if I'm in chocolate mood. If I'm in a plain mood in the morning, I'll go for a plain bagel and cream cheese. You know, just a few minutes ago, we have a new little small cinnamon roll that we're doing with butter and sugar and cinnamon. And so I ate one of those. Then I had a bear claw to top that off. So having one dessert I don't think there is just one favorite thing that I like all the time.
For On the Hill, I'm Courtney Brown.
So Courtney, in the process of making the story with Rick, did you have a chance to try any delicious treats?
Well, I really enjoyed talking with Rick, John, but I think my favorite part was being able to try the strawberry flavored petit-fours. If you have not tried it, you should.
They sound great. I'll have to try one next time I'm there. Thank you. When we come back from the break, Yen Wen will have a feature profile on Stephen Gordley and the impact of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on Fayetteville.
Wouldn't be surprised to see if he's got one more in him.
He touched Matt Hughes' chin and Matt Hughes failed.
If he gets this fight to the ground, it's no contest.
My name is Stephen Gordley. I work for an armored car company during the day. the route supervisor, and then in the evening I teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. Everyday life I use, the Jiu-Jitsu awareness to help, somewhat try to deter someone from, holding me up, robbing me. It's unnerving when you get off the truck carrying a bag full of several $1,000s. You see a van over there with no windows and somebody's sitting in it staring at you. You kind of feel like a little rabbit and there's a lion over here. So you just want to hurry and get in the truck as fast as possible and hope that your driver's ready to get the door open for you. Where I grew up, it was if you didn't play football and go hunting and chew tobacco, you weren't anybody. I don't drink. I'm 34 years old right now. I've never been drunk. I don't dip tobacco. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't like going hunting because I have respect for the wildlife, that we don't need to go kill things. We have grocery stores for that nowadays. I just felt that it was pointless and useless for me. So I turned down another path and started studying martial arts. So I started with Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. The art of the samurai dates back 2,000 years. Coming in, up, pop, keeping your hand here. The rotation hits through, all around the body. Good throw. Because that's when you get in, you paused and you drove. Okay, you had your position, you did your passing through, and then you did your execution, your follow through at the very end, which is correct. It's not so much a challenge of, look at me, I'm a big tough guy. It's more of a challenge of yourself. It's more of a real life scenario. 85% of all fights end up on the ground. Watch UFC. How many fights stay left standing? Very few. Look at the Army Combatives program for the United States military. Army Combatives is nothing but Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. It's pure Gracie Combatives. Most people don't realize that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, all they see is the grappling aspect of it, the tournament aspect, the UFC aspect. It has self-defense applications. If I crank your arm and put 4 pounds of pressure on your elbow, you're going to tap. If I put 8 pounds of pressure, your elbow is going to snap. Great for women, because if they're going to be attacked, Jiu-Jitsu has numerous self-defense applications that nobody even realizes. And you don't have to do all the hi-yahs and this and that and the other, because Jiu-Jitsu teaches you to fight standing, in a clinch, and on the ground. Makes you want to come back for more, because it's like you just get hooked on it and you want to see as far as you can go and what shape your body can get into and how you can transform yourself. I pull in. This is where you guys are stopping. Now.
My name is Rachel Welchel. I work at Barnes & Noble. I've been going through this journey to try to get myself in very good shape for the past 7 years. I found Steve. He says, why don't you try Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? He said, you should come in. We're real dedicated. We love what we do. It's a real family atmosphere. Come on in, try it out. So I came in and I really liked what I saw, and I saw the results immediately because they knew what they were talking about. First, I didn't like it so much. Fighting from the floor is pretty hard. If I ever get attacked, you do most of your moves from the floor. If somebody tries to attack me, it's going to be very easy for me to get away from them. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has done quite a bit for me. I have never been real physically fit until this point in my life. I was 427 pounds. I'm 170 pounds now. I've lost 257 pounds. I really didn't think I could do this, and I can.
Jiu-Jitsu is not really a hobby. A hobby is something you do occasionally, like collecting stamps. Jiu-Jitsu is a lifestyle change. You go to sleep doing Jiu-Jitsu, you wake up thinking about Jiu-Jitsu, you do Jiu-Jitsu in your everyday life. Getting up, going to work, coming here, going home, I get about an hour and a half with my wife a day. if I'm lucky, before I have to go to bed. It's hard to fit it in, but it's doable. You know, eventually, hopefully one day that, you know, this won't be the only school I have. I'll hopefully have a much larger school, and that's all I'll do from the time I get up to the time I go to bed is teach and train jiu-jitsu all day long and pass that knowledge on to someone else.
Thanks to Yen Wen for that wonderful profile piece on Stephen Gordley. He truly makes Fayetteville unique.
An era is coming to an end as Fayetteville High School prepares for the demolition of its gym. Nicole Perez has the story.
Well, it's very sad for me because this is part of my life. I mean, I grew up here, I played here, I've coached here, so I mean, everything that's happened in that gym has been a part of my life.
The Fayetteville High School gym demolition is bittersweet for many. It begins a new era for the Bulldog community, but the coaches, players, and fans will never forget the 60 years of memories created there.
Without the people of Fayetteville coming out and supporting their teams for the last 60 years, it would not be the best high school gym in the state of Arkansas.
Coach Kyle Adams has been coaching in the Fayetteville School District for 28 years, 9 of those years at Fayetteville High School. Adams' history goes beyond his coaching career and dates back to his childhood.
Well, I grew up 2 blocks away from this school, so I was here as a kid all the time watching basketball games. I could walk over here and spend $3 and have the time of my life. So that was an awesome time for me, but then I grew up and had the opportunity to play here in 76, 77, and 78. My senior year in 78, I got to start, and we won a state championship at that year.
Kiko Haydar, point guard for the Arkansas Razorbacks, also grew up in Fayetteville and played for the Bulldogs.
We played Little Rock Hall when they were 25th in the country and beat them there, so that was memorable. And I mean, I never lost there, so just kind of all those memories.
The final game of the season was one to remember. It was against their crosstown rivals, the Springdale Bulldogs. And as if that wasn't enough, they had to deal with the pressure of playing the final game ever to be played in Bulldog Gym.
I kind of tried to prepare them for it all year long. I said, you guys, you got to understand how much tradition is in this building and how many people have played here from other schools and our school. So it means a lot to a lot of people, and I kind of tried to build up to it towards the end of the season for them so they would understand and not be shocked when everybody was walking through the door.
I told the guys before I left that it's not an option to lose the game.
Fayetteville was down at the half with the weight of the city on their shoulders.
The bottom line is you got to step up and play. And the seniors took it upon themselves to make that happen. Kyle Graves stepped up, hit a couple of big threes for us, and got us rolling a little bit better, and we just made some shots.
Shots that led them to win by 7 points. It was a perfect end to Fayetteville's new beginning.
Getting to coach the last game here and the first game there is special for me. You're turning a new page in the book and going to a new arena, and you got to carry that tradition down there and hopefully build on it and get better and better things.
For On the Hill, I'm Nicole Perez.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So Nicole, you were at the last basketball game at Fayetteville High School. What was the atmosphere like there?
Brett, the atmosphere was absolutely insane. The crowd was so loud. The players were pouring their hearts out onto that court. And you know, it was kind of like a fairy tale ending for the Fayetteville Bulldogs. And you know, it made me miss high school a little bit, I can't lie.
That's one thing I definitely don't miss is high school. We'll be right back after this break.
Give me freedom, give me fire, give me reason, take me higher. See the champions take the field now. Unify us, make us feel proud. Oh, 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 oh.
about wraps up this episode of On the Hill. I really had a good time on the square with you today, John.
Likewise, Brad. Join us next time when we visit the Crystal Bridges American Museum of Art.
We leave you today with the sights and sounds of Mama Dean's soul food.
For On the Hill, I'm John Cooper.
And I'm Brad Carlton.
When you walk in the door, we greet you with love. And when you sit down, we still greet you with love. We feel you fill your stomach with love, nothing but love. Just comfort food, and that's it. Well, I started in my kitchen. I sold newspaper and I needed a job. So one night we was tired of that. So my son told me I know how to cook. So we started cooking in my kitchen and delivering plates. And did good at it.
I figured if I couldn't work for my mom, I can't work for anybody. I mean, she's gonna be the easiest person to work for if anybody is my mom, so might as well work with her. And we have fun back there laughing and joking, so. Plus I get to see her every day.
I love to bond with them. You know, if you got a problem, let's sit down and talk about it. That's the way it is. That's what you call love. You got to. You know, if you go into school up there, you got to bond with your friends. You know, that would make the world go round, but some of us are so caught up in something else, but I'm not. All I do is love. Gotta love. Boy, it just means just what your mama used to cook. Just old-timey cooking, fried chicken, fried pork chop, gravy. Boy, beans and greens, cornbread. That's what it means. It's like a love thing. Well, a lot of them said that's how their granny used to cook. So they just keep coming back. Nobody cooks no more. So if they get a good meal, they like it. Say, that's just like grandma used to cook, or their mom used to cook. So it's just nothing but old Southern cooking.
And honestly, it was like a Fayetteville.
Thank you, Courtney. Okay.
Can we just dance?
Can you put a blooper reel in?
Up next, Yen Wen will feature a profile